All right, guys, welcome to this week's Patreon workout. Today's going to be a focus on legs and lower body. We'll go ahead and get started with a warm-up. We're going to start with some high knees. So if you can, just try to get your hips up to at least parallel with the floor. And we're warming up our hip flexors, our core, getting a little balance work. And then we'll switch it up to some butt kicks, stretching out our quads, waking up our hamstrings. Go ahead and jog in place, warm up your feet and ankles. All right, now we're going to raise a knee, externally rotate, like we're stepping over a fence. All right, then we're going to stretch out our hamstrings a little bit. So go ahead and get about a hip width stance. We're going to give ourselves a nice flat back, keeping our core tight. And we're going to slide our hands down our legs. And once we feel our back wanting to start to round, then we're going to stop there for a minute. Pull ourselves up with our glutes and hamstrings. And then go ahead and go back down. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So the first exercise we're going to do is going to be a body weight squat. So we're going to start with our legs about hip width apart, maybe a little wider. And we're going to go ahead and hinge at the hips. Push our hips back like we're sitting into a chair. And we're going to try to go down until our quads are parallel with the floor. Then we're going to squeeze our glutes to bring us back up. So inhale on the way down, squeeze your glutes, exhale on the way up. This is 3, and we'll go anywhere from 8 to 15, depending on the difficulty level. And so I'm doing it on flat ground here, but if your heels are coming off the floor, then you can either use a book or something under your heel to elevate it a little bit, and that should make the squats easier on you. Go ahead and do 2 or 3 more. All right, go ahead and take a couple seconds in between the next set. I usually like to do some different movements to try and keep my heart rate up in between sets. That way it gives you a little bit better fat burning effect and doesn't get so boring in between sets. I get bored pretty easy. And so whenever you're ready, we'll go ahead and get back in position for the next set. So we're going to go down, squeeze our glutes and come up. Core tight, glute squeeze. Inhale, exhale. And 10. All right. We'll do one more set of these. All right, last set. And if you want to make it a little bit more difficult, like if you want to add weight to it, what I like to do is I like to hold the weight close to my chest and then proceed with the exercise. All right. Now the next exercise is going to be a glute bridge. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and lay on the floor, nice and flat. We're going to take our heels in close to our butt and have our knees over our ankles. So arms are on the ground. We're going to squeeze our glutes to press our hips up. And this is a core exercise, so it's strengthening our lower back. We're keeping our core tight, so it's engaging our abs. And then also we should be getting a stretch on the front of our quads and hip flexors. So we'll go ahead and lower down. And now we're gonna go ahead and do 10 reps. So exhale on the way up, hold it for a moment, inhale on the way down. So it's 3, 4, and last one, 10. So in between sets of this, we can do a little core work. So I'm gonna have my feet off the ground and arms can either be by my sides or up in the air. So I'm gonna hold this for another 15 seconds. All right, I think that was 15 seconds. We'll get in position for the next set of glute bridges. So squeeze your glutes, tighten your core. Go back down. Exhale up. Inhale down. Three more. And 10. All right, so this time in between sets, I'm gonna go ahead and hug my knees in, get some stretch in my back, hips. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and release one leg and keep it from touching the floor. And then I'm gonna switch, hug the other knee in. And switch again. And switch again. All right, this is gonna be the last set of the glute bridges. And this time, let's throw a different variation in there. So the same starting position is gonna be the same. Squeeze my glutes to bring my hips off the floor. And this time, we're gonna go ahead and do some single leg marches. Nice and slow. Continuing to breathe. And then anywhere from 8 to 15 on each side should be good. I'm going to do 2 more on each side. And 10. All right. All right, we're going to go ahead and do our last exercise here, and this is going to be for our lower legs. So a good place to do this would be up against a wall or just something to lean against. And so we're going to work our calves, our lower legs. So I'm standing up nice and straight. I'm going to go ahead and lean against the wall, but I want to make sure that the heels of my feet are pressed firmly into the ground. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stand on my tippy toes, hold it for a sec, and then come back to the starting position. So exhale up, inhale down. And then in between sets of this, I'm going to go ahead and do some wall sits. So we can go ahead and put our back against the wall, walk our feet out, keep them about hip width apart. And so I'm going to go down until my quads are parallel and my knees are over my ankles. And I'm going to hold this from anywhere to 10 to 30 seconds. Remember to breathe. Keep your core tight. Ten more seconds. Go ahead and climb back up. And now we'll do our second round of the calf raises. So stand up nice and straight, hands against the wall, heels pressed firmly into the floor. We're going to go ahead and stand up on our tippy toes, feel the contraction, come back down, feel the stretch. And so in order to make it more difficult, we can increase the angle, just making sure that our heels return to the flat ground. All right, let's do another set of the wall sits. And so if you want to make this more difficult, we can just grab a weight, set it on our, well, probably just hold it close to your chest would be the best option. So if you can, if you notice your knees starting to come in, we want to try and prevent that. We want to keep our knees over top of our ankles. 10 more seconds. All right. Go ahead and return to your starting position. And we'll do one more set of calf raises. And so with these, we can also do some single leg. So you just want to make sure that if you have a weaker foot, start with that one and match with your stronger foot. So what I do is I keep my knees together and get a little bend in my knee. And then I'm just going to, on a single foot, stand up on my toes. And then match it with the other foot. And 10. All right. So that was it for the workout. We're going to go ahead and get a little stretch in. So we're going to start with a forward fold. So we're going to have our feet about hip width apart. We're going to tighten our core, hinge at the hips, slide our hands down our legs. And then once we feel our back start to round, we'll just stop there and take a couple deep breaths. And we'll go ahead and slide our hands back up our legs. And this time we can go a little wider. Let's go about shoulder width this time. And so, same thing, hinge at the waist. Feel that stretch in your hamstrings. And once you feel your back wanting to start to round, just stop there and take some deep breaths. Then we're going to go ahead and pull ourselves up with our glutes and hamstrings, coming up one vertebrae at a time. And last one, we're just going to go about 1 foot width wider on each side. And so same thing, tighten our core, hinge at the waist. And this time, if you want to add a little bit of a twist to it, we can take our hands over to one leg, ankle, foot, wherever. And then we can also throw our other arm in the air and try to look up at it. Slowly come back to center. And then we'll go ahead and switch over to the other side. Back to center, hands on our legs, pulling ourselves up with our glutes and hamstrings, coming up one vertebrae at a time. All right, this time we'll go ahead and find a wall we can lean against for a little bit of balance. We're going to stretch out the front of our legs here. So we're going to grab the top of our foot and try to pull it in close. And we want to keep our knees together. We don't want them out, hinged out. So stand up nice and tall, squeezing your core, looking straight ahead, and continuing to breathe. And we'll go ahead and switch legs. And switch. And so if you want to add a little bit of difficulty to this stretch, we can really squeeze our glute of the active foot and then maybe even kick into our hands a little bit. And you should feel it deepen in the stretch. And switch. All right, now we're going to stretch out our lower leg. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into the same position we were for the calf raises. So stand up nice and tall, hands at shoulder level. I'm going to take one foot, step it behind me, and I'm gonna make sure my heel gets pressed into the ground. And so if I wanna increase the difficulty, I can bend my front knee to put a little more pressure on that ankle and continue to breathe. And switch sides. And switch. And switch. And switch. All right. That's it for today's workout. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.